Hello, Algebra 1 students. This is Mrs. Cruzy, and I'm going to go over this practice test for your test on Friday. Now, you guys, it's a really good thing to listen to because your test on Friday looks very, very similar to this, okay? So the first thing that you're going to have to be able to find is you're going to have to be able to find the slope of a line if you're given a graph, okay? So what you want to think of here is rise over run. Okay, so you're going to start at one point and ask yourself, how far do you have to go up and down? And then how far do you have to go right and left? Remember, if you're going up, you want to make your number positive. If you're going down, you want to make it negative. If you're going right, you want to make it positive. If you're going left, you want to make it negative. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, I'm going to start at this point right here. Okay, now how far do I have to rise? So I have to go down. Because I'm going down, I'm going to make the number negative, and I went down 3. So this is going to be negative 3. And then how far do I have to go to get to the point? I have to go right. Because I'm right, this is going to be positive, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so if I plug this into my little formula that I have here, rise over run, the rise was negative 3, the run was positive 6. And please make sure that you're actually reducing your fractions, right? So this is going to be negative 1/2. So there's your slope. All right. Okay, let's look at the next one. Find the slope of the line through each pair of points. So on this one, instead of giving you a graph of the line, they just gave you 2 points. So for this, you should know that the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And you guys, that's just a mathematical way of saying rise over run. It's the change in the y's over the change in the x's. So how do I plug this in? So this is the x coordinate of my first point, the y coordinate of my first point, and this is the x coordinate of my second point and the y coordinate of my second point. So just plugging those in, your y2 is 18 minus, and then your y1 is a negative 5. Notice I'm subtracting a negative, which is going to turn into a positive in a second. And then on the bottom, I have x2, which is negative 16, minus x1, which is 3. Okay, here 2 negatives make a positive, so this is really 18 plus 5, these guys right there. And then negative 16 minus 3 is negative 19, and 18 plus 5 is 23 over negative 19. Please don't panic that this is a really, really gross fraction. Who cares, right? It is what it is. There's nothing you have to do with it, so you're all good. Okay. Number 3, find the value of x or y so that the line through the points has the given slope. Okay, so this case right here, okay, it says x or y. So I'm looking for x this time, so I'm looking for x. If they give you a y value that you're looking for, it's going to be the same idea. Okay, so please don't panic if they ask for y. Okay, so I'm going to start with my little formula that says m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But this time I have more stuff to plug in. Remember, another name for slope is m, right? So m equals 7 over 8. So I can actually replace this m with that 7 over 8. So I have the m became the 7 over 8. What does it equal? So let's again label this the x coordinate of the first point, y coordinate of the first point, x coordinate of the second point, y coordinate of the second point. So my y2 is 3. Minus my y1 is negative 4, all over my x2 is 3, minus my x1. Now this time I don't know what that is. It's just called x, and that is what I need to find. Okay, so let's go ahead and simplify this a little bit. Sorry, I've got all these colors everywhere, my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this over here on the side. So I'm going to have 7 over 8. I do not want a highlighter. Goodness, sorry about that. Okay, I'm going to rewrite over here. So I have 7 over 8 equals. Now, a negative and a negative make a positive, so this is really 3 plus 4, which is 7, all over 3 minus x. Okay, I can't combine the 3 and the x together because they're not like terms. Now, you guys, this is just a proportion. And remember, the way to solve a proportion is just to cross multiply. Okay, so I'm going to go 7 times 8. Equals 7 times 3 minus x. Okay, 7 times 8 is 56. If I distribute this, I'm going to get 21 minus 7x. And then if I subtract 21 from both sides, remember I'm just solving for the x, you're going to get 35 equals negative 7x. And then one last step, if I divide both sides by negative 7, I'm going to get that x equals negative 35 divided by negative 7, which is negative 5. All right, that one is a little bit trickier, I agree, but you guys, it's really not any different than number 2. You just know more information, okay? All right, number 4, find the slope of each line. So we're still dealing with that slope. We have to be able to find a slope with a graph, slope with points, okay? Now, what about if they gave me the slope in an equation? I have to figure out which part is the slope. So what you have to remember here is this form right here, the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. If it's in that form, then your slope is that m, that number in front of the x. So am I in that form? Well, let's write it out. Y equals mx plus b. Okay, you guys notice I've got the y, I've got the m right here, I've got the x, and I have the b. So I've got everything. So basically my m is just a number in front of the x. So I could just say that m equals 3/4. Okay, so if you're in y equals mx plus b form, the slope is just the number in front of the x. You don't really have to do much. All right, let's look at number 5. Okay, in this one, I am not in slope-intercept form, so let's go ahead and put it into y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to have to subtract 3x from both sides, which is going to get me 5y equals negative 3x plus 25. Now look, I could have written 25 minus 3x, but I really want it in mx plus b form, so I'm going to write the x part first. Okay, then to get rid of the 5, I'm going to divide by it. So now I have y equals negative 3/5 x plus, and 25 over 5 is just 5. So again, now that I'm in y equals mx plus b form, the slope is just the number in front of the x. So you can say the slope is negative 3/5. All right. So pretty much, you guys, the first 5 problems have to do with just slope. How do you find it from a graph? How do you find it from 2 points? How do you find it if it's an equation? Okay. All right, now 6 and 7, actually sketching these lines. So luckily, this one is in y equals mx plus b form, okay? So the y-intercept, this is the b, and that in this case is right here. That's the negative 3. Now, you guys, this right here is where you start plotting, okay? And it's always on the y-axis because it's the y-intercept. That's where it crosses the y-axis. So on the y-axis, right, this is my y-axis here, right? I'm going to go to negative 3. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, I'm right here. That is my starting point of this line. Now, the next thing I want to do is find the slope. Now, look, we just did this in number 4 and number 5. The slope is the number in front of your x. So the slope is negative 2/3. Now, a lot of people look at this and go, but wait, the negative's in the middle. Does it go to the 2 or does it go to the 3? It does not matter. You can go make it negative 2/3 or you can make it 2 over negative 3. I just usually just put the negative on the top. So this is saying that we need to go rise over run. So we need to go down 2 and we need to go right 3. So from my red point here, I'm going to go down 2 and then right 1, 2, 3. So there's another point on the line. Now, if I did that one more time, I kind of go off the graph. So I'm just going to do the opposite. I'm going to go up 2 and left 3. And that's going to be right there. Connect your dots. And there's your line. All right. Okay, number 7. Now, you guys notice number 7, this x minus 3y equals 15. This time it is not in y equals mx plus b form, so I need to get it into that form. So let's go ahead and subtract x from both sides. It's going to get me negative 3y equals negative x plus 15. And then I need to get rid of the negative 3, so I'm going to divide. Okay, so it's kind of funny. Okay, there's a little invisible 1 here. Okay, you can't see it, but it's there, right? First of all, a negative over a negative, these are going to cancel each other out. That's just going to be a positive. So really, this is 1/3 x, and then 15 divided by negative 3 is negative 5. Okay, so again, now that I'm in mx plus b form, my b equals -5, and my m equals 1/3. So the b is where my line is going to cross, again, that y-axis. If you want to highlight it, that sometimes helps to know where to start. So on the y-axis, I'm going to go down 5. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is right there. And then it says my slope is 1/3. This means I'm going up 1 and right 3. Okay, so I'm going to go up 1, right 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go up 1, right 1, 2, 3. So my line is going to look something like this. Sorry, it should actually go through the points. Just make the points a little bit bigger to make sure that works. Okay? All right, number 8. Write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line. So here we're really trying to test to see, do you know what slope-intercept form is? That's just y equals mx plus b. And you guys, in a way, we just did this. We did this on number 7. We also did it on number 5, so it's not really a new skill, right? I just basically here, I need to solve for y. Solve for y. Get that y all by itself, okay? So let's go ahead and subtract 6x from both sides. And you're going to get -7y equals -6x plus 28. And then I need to get the y all by itself, so I'm going to divide by -7. And I'm going to get y equals, again, a negative divided by a negative cancel each other out. It's just a positive. So this is going to be 6/7x. And then 28 divided by -7 is -4. Now I am in slope-intercept form. All right. Now, you guys, I think number 9 is actually the easiest question on the test. Please don't miss this one, okay? To sketch the graph of a line that has an x-intercept at -2. So this means it crosses x-axis at -2. Okay, so let's go and put that on there. Where's the x-axis? This is your, that's not a highlighter. Hang on one second. Try that again. So this is your x-axis, right? So it crosses the x-axis at -2. So let's make a dot at -2. And then it says the y-intercept is -2. This means it crosses the y-axis at -2. So who's the y-axis this time? This is your y-axis, right? So that also crosses at -2. So here's -2 on the y-axis. Now, because I only need 2 points to make a line, oops, sorry about that. I've got 2 points, connect the dots, and you're good to go. So please don't miss that one. We're just testing to see if you know what an x and a y-intercept are. All right, write the slope-intercept form of the equation. Again, you guys, this is just a fancy way of saying get the y all alone, right? Okay, so the first thing I see, whenever you have parentheses, try to distribute to get rid of them. So this is going to be -2x minus 6. And then we're going to add 5 to both sides. And you're going to get that y equals -2x. And then -6 plus 5 is a -1. And that's it. Okay, so look, if I look at the last like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, they all have to do with the slope-intercept form of a line, the y equals mx plus b. So you have to be able to pull out the m, the y-intercept, graph them, get it into that form. Okay, so that's a really, really important skill, especially going forward in algebra. All right, almost there. Write the slope-intercept form. Again, I want it in y equals mx plus b form. Okay, of the equation of the line through the given point with the given slope. Okay, now you guys look, ask yourself like what they gave you. They gave you a point and they gave you a slope. Okay, now this is how I teach it when I teach calculus. Okay, I always go point and I go slope. Those are the 2 things that I have to have, okay, so no question. I have to have a point and a slope to write the equation of a line. Now, the point that they gave me was -4, -1. This will be my x1, y1. And the slope that they gave me, that's going to be my m, is -1/2. Now, once I have a point and a slope, I can put it into something called point-slope form. And it kind of makes sense because guess what? I have a point and a slope, so I'm in point-slope form, okay? Now, what is that? Don't know if you remember it, but point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And all you have to do is just replace the y1, the m, and the x1, and then just make it pretty, okay? So let's do it. This is y minus, your y1 is -1. Notice the double negative. The m is -1/2. And then x minus, and the x1 is this -4. Okay, so I just need to make this pretty and make it y equals, because it's pretty ugly at this point, right? So let's deal with these double negatives. Two negatives make a positive, so I have y plus 1 equals -1/2 times, again, two negatives make a positive, so that's x plus 4. Okay, now you guys, really at this point, it just becomes a question like number 10. Check that out. Same question, solve for y, make it pretty, okay? So let's go ahead and distribute the 1/2. So -1/2 times x is a -1/2 x. And then a negative times a positive is a negative. And you guys, this is just saying, what is half of 4? Half of 4 is 2, right? I'm almost there. Subtract 1 from both sides. So I'm going to end up getting, here, I'll write the answer over here. These cancel. Y equals -1/2 x, and -2 minus 1 is -3. Now I'm in y equals mx plus b form. Okay? All right, same question, different information. It says write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line through the given points. Okay, to write the equation of a line, I always need two things. I need a point and I need a slope. All right, well, this is great because to get a point, they actually gave me 2 points, did they not? Okay, so if they give me 2 points, you get to pick one. So do you like 5, 1 better, or 0 and -3? Okay, I like 5, 1 because they're both positive, and I like 0 and -3 because one of them is a 0, but it doesn't matter which one you pick. I promise you'll get the same answer. So I'm just going to go for 5, 1. I'm just going to pick this one. So I'm picking 5, 1 as my point. I'm going to call that x1 and y1. Okay, now I need to find my slope. Now you guys notice in number 11, they actually told me what the slope was. Do you see that? But in number 12, they don't tell me, which means I have to find it. So how do you find the slope if you're given 2 points? Remember your little formula here. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this right here, let's erase this. This is the x coordinate of the first point, y coordinate of the first point, x coordinate of the second point, y coordinate of the second point. So if I plug that in, my y2 is -3, minus y1 is 1, your x2 is 0, minus your x1 is 5. So -3 minus 1 is -4, 0 minus 5 is -5, and two negatives make a positive, so the slope is really just 4/5. So yes, this did require a little bit more work, but now we're back to what we had before. I have a point, I have a slope, I can put this into point-slope form, which again is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And again, I need to replace the y1, the m, and the x1. So let's do that. So it's y minus, your y1 is 1, equals the m, which is 4/5, times x minus 5. Now, you guys, I know fractions are like the end of you, but we can do this. Watch. 4/5 times x is 4/5x. Minus, now what the heck is 4/5 times 5? Let's do it on the side. 4/5 times 5, okay? If that confuses you, just put this over 1, okay? And you guys notice, if something's on the same, on the top and the bottom when you're multiplying, they cancel out. So this is just 4. So that wasn't so bad. So this is -4. And then if I add 1 to both sides, I'm going to end up getting y equals 4/5x. And then -4 plus 1, which is -3. Okay? All right, now back to like the harder questions here. Okay, 13 and 14. So it's the same instructions. Write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line described, okay? So every time you want to write the equation of a line, you need two things. I need a point and I need a slope. So let's see what they gave me this time. Okay, did they give me a point? They sure did. They gave me only 1 point, so that's the one I got to pick, right? This is my x1, y1. Now, I need to find the slope, okay? Now, you guys, this time they didn't say, hey, the slope equals, or they didn't give me 2 points to find it. They said parallel to this line, okay? Well, let's talk about what parallel means, okay? Parallel means that they have the same slope. So basically, whatever the slope is of this line, that's the slope of my line too. Well, that's really good because check this out. This is in y equals mx plus b form, which means that the slope of that line is 7 over 2. So that means the parallel slope is also 7 over 2 because parallel lines have the same slope. Okay, so you guys look, I've got myself a point. I've got myself a slope. Once you have a point and a slope, you can put it into point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And again, we're going to replace the y1, the m, and the x1. Okay, so we get y minus, my y1 is 2, equals, my m is the slope, which is 7 over 2, and then x minus my x1 is also 2. Again, please don't freak out with the fraction. You can do it. Okay, so you have y minus 2 equals, if I distribute this, you're going to have 7 over 2x minus, now what is 7 over 2 times 2? So look, I just showed you how to do this if it freaks you out. If you don't like the way it looks, put it over 1. If you have the same number on the top and the bottom, they cancel out. That just equals 7. See, that wasn't scary whatsoever. Okay, then we're going to add 2 to both sides. And negative 7 plus 2 is going to be negative 5. So there is the equation of the line that passes through the point 2, 2, and it has a slope of 7 over 2. Okay, now super scary on number 14, okay? Same thing. I want the equation of the line. So I need a point, I need a slope. You always need a point and you always need a slope. Okay, again, they gave me my point. That is wonderful news. Remember, if they give you 2 points, you get to pick one. This time they only gave me 1, so that's the one I got to pick, okay? Now, this right here, that means perpendicular to. Perpendicular, okay? Okay, so again, I've got this line, right? What is the slope of this line? So it's in y equals mx plus b form. So the slope of the line is negative 4, but I don't want the slope of that line. I want it to be perpendicular to that line. So what would the perpendicular slope be? Now remember, when they're parallel right here, they have the same slope. What about when they're perpendicular? They have negative reciprocal. That's not how you spell reciprocal. Okay, let's erase that. That's driving me nuts. Negative reciprocal slopes. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, first of all, let's pick this apart. Negative means you change the sign. So if this slope is already negative, I'm going to change it to a positive, okay? And reciprocal means flip the fraction. Okay, now you might be going, hey, 4 is not a fraction. Well, it kind of is. You can write it as 4 over 1, right? If I flip it, what am I going to get? I'm going to get 1 over 4. So my slope that I want is positive 1 over 4. So look, I have a point. I have a slope. Okay, do you guys see like the little pattern that we've got going here? Once you have a point and once you have a slope, plug it into point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And you need to replace the y1, the m, and the x1. Okay, so plugging this in, you're going to get y minus, your y1 is a negative 3. Check out that double negative. Equals, the m is 1/4. And then x minus your x1 is a 4. Okay, so again, a double negative makes a positive. So this is y plus 3. Let's distribute this. 1/4 times x is 1/4 x, and then minus 1/4 times 4. Hey, this should not be freaking you out anymore. Let's do it on the side. 1/4 times 4. If you don't like the way it looks, put it over 1. Same number on the top and the bottom. I'm left with 1 over 1, which is just 1. Okay, so if I subtract 3 from both sides, I'm going to end up getting y equals 1/4 x, and then negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. All right, so there you have it. You guys, the test, guess what? It has 14 questions on it. Guess what? This practice test also has 14 questions on it. So what I would really do is just look at each question and go, which one do I need more practice on? Which one do I really not understand? Highlight it, and then please make sure that you come into class on Thursday and ask any and all questions that you may have, okay? I hope this helped, and if you guys need any help whatsoever, I don't care whose class you're from, I live in room M5, okay? It's right by the baseball field. Please stop by at lunch at any time. I'd be glad to help you, okay? Have a great day, everyone.